Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about X-Men Days of Future Past. It's directed by Bryan Singer again. He helmed the first two films from 2014 action adventure. I feel like I don't need to name the cast, but of course we're going to anyway. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique. Now I put it James McAvoy and Sir Patrick Stewart as Professor X because they both play the part. Michael Fassbender and Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto, since they both play the part. Evan Peters as Quicksilver, Peter Dinklage as Bolivar Trask, Ellen Page as Kitty Pryde, Nicholas Hoult as Beast, and Ellen Paquin as Rogue. I'm using the Rogue cut, that's why Rogue is in this. We'll talk about it a little bit more, not too much though. It doesn't add anything to the movie, so I don't understand why you have your basic X-Men Days of Future Past and then X-Men Days of Future Past Rogue cut. Doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. Has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes with a budget of $220 million. The film made $747.9 million at the box office. That's good. That's what the X-Men franchise needed. It's not what the X-Men franchise eventually continues doing, but we'll get there next week. That's a really lot, and like I said, that's a lot of hard-earned and well-earned money. I should mention, like I said, Rogue cut, no major differences. First up, yes, there are two different timelines going on. One in the 70s with Wolverine and the X-Men First Class cast, and then one, I don't know the specific year, but it's kind of the future 2010s, 2020s. Honestly, with the way this year is going, I wouldn't be surprised if they got that right. With our original cast. Wolverine travels back to the glorious 70s, where about a good 85 to 90% of this movie takes place. The plan is to break Eric out of his Pentagon prison and team up to stop Mystique from killing Trask. Eric eventually just kind of escapes and goes out on his own and he's in prison because he tried to stop the assassination of the president, but the bullet went into the president. No. So he ended up killing the president. So that's what he's in the Pentagon for. Although if you ask him, all he's guilty of is being different, I think he says. I don't know. Trask is played, once again, like I said, by Peter Dinklage. And I haven't really watched Game of Thrones yet, but I plan on doing so. He's responsible for creating the Sentinels, mutant targeting robots tasked with killing them. So there's the original Sentinels, and then there's kind of the ones that show up in the future, which we'll talk about. I like this movie better than all the other X-Men films. Not that X-Men First Class is bad, like I said, it's not. I actually really like X-Men First Class, but this is number one for me, which I will do a ranking when I'm all done with the X-Men films. It's got really well-crafted action sequences, and it's a really good, just well-made film from an acting standpoint, directing, yada yada yada. The best action sequence is kind of universally acknowledged. It's the scene where Quicksilver runs around the Pentagon kitchen, messing with all the guards, trying to get them to take each other out. It's, universally well-liked scene. Peter Dinklage is one of my favorites in the movie, along with Jennifer Lawrence and everyone else, There's no one bad actor or actress in this. Like I said, have yet to watch Game of Thrones with Peter Dinklage, but I will be getting there. I have HBO Max now, so it's on that. Get to it now. The Rogue cut adds a few extra scenes in the future timeline that, I don't quite understand why they were cut. I believe it was for, time management reasons, but to me, that just doesn't make any sense. So, why cut it, The music adds some nice 70s songs, and it's wonderful, while John Ottman, who worked on X-Men 2 and worked on Bohemian Rhapsody, composed some excellent songs for the film. Set designers, where'd it go? Set designer Yves Boulan, Gordon Sim, and Ann Smart do a great job with the set during the final fight in the 70s at the presidential convention. Red, white, and blue everywhere, it's just very 70s, kind of something you wouldn't really see nowadays, I don't think, maybe as you get closer and closer to it, but, everywhere was just red, white, and blue everything. Even the interior for the Pentagon, it's I don't think they actually shot there. I can't find anything on that, but, I would say that, there's a reason this movie is my favorite, and yes, X-Men Apocalypse and X-Men Dark Phoenix tried to do the similar Quicksilver run around kind of deal, but it's not as good, in my opinion, in those movies. This is where they really perfected it, and, Sonic the Hedgehog even kind of parodies it a little bit. But what I would say makes this my favorite is just this. Honestly, it's the set design, vibrant colors, even when they're locked up in the Pentagon, in the kitchen, it's well lighted. And the design that they used for Eric's cell being that, it's all plastic and glass. You can't have metal because Magneto manipulates metal, yada, yada, yada. So they can't have all that going on. So they come up with different ways of, having metallic, non-metallic objects, plastic, glass, yada, yada, yada. John Muir's design for the Sentinels, both future and past, look good. The future ones feel much more like a much more evolved version of what we get in the 70s that are based on the look of the comics, which, speaking of, this is supposedly somewhat of a faithful adaptation. However, I can't speak for sure just yet. I haven't read the comic. It's one I've checked it out of the library before, and I just never read it. I've watched the episodes on that 90s X-Men TV show, but, that's a TV show adaptation. This is a film adaptation, They're not going to add up to the original comic. Well, time to grade it. It's a really good movie. I really recommend this one. This is the one I recommend to anyone who's like, oh, I want to watch an X-Men film. X-Men Days of Future Past. Right there. Don't watch anything else. I mean, if you want to watch X2, go ahead. If you want to watch First Class, well, okay, I recommend that one too. The rest of them you can skip, to be perfectly honest. I'll give this a 10 out of 10. Silver Shamrock. Yeah, I said it yesterday in my St. Elmo's Fire video. I'm like, I haven't given one of these out yet. And then I looked over and was like, oh no, there's a few coming. We're doing, not to spoil it, but we're doing The Dark Knight soon. So, I'm excited about that. This movie just impresses me to no end. Now, tomorrow, we're going to talk about Gremlins. I've never seen Gremlins before. It's one my friend was like, I did a post a few months ago on Instagram. I was like, what movie used to scare you as a kid? And my friend was like, Gremlins. And I'm like, I thought, yeah, I've never seen it. So, it is a horror movie, supposedly. But, we'll find out tonight how much of a horror film it actually is, since the Wednesdays for a while are going to be horror Wednesdays, which I'm really excited about. It's kind of making me wonder if I just want to keep doing what I'm doing now in October and just start pumping out reviews for, this guy, the franchise that I love, not that these two goofballs don't really matter that much. I do them after, but, go Halloween, probably Friday the 13th, then Nightmare on Elm Street. Which also, I want to talk about this. I'm going to start doing a few extra posts on Instagram of movie reviews. And the two movies I've watched so far, Better Watch Out and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Don't ever, 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 ever watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The movie is gross and made me very uncomfortable. I will talk about why that's good and bad, but I just wanted to throw that out there that unless you're like a die-hard horror fan, you can skip Texas Chainsaw. Just the whole franchise, all of it, just made me really uncomfortable. Leatherface is creepy and weird. But anyway, 10 out of 10 for X-Men Days of Future Past. Go check it out if you can. It's not too expensive, I don't think. But until tomorrow with Gremlins, which again, haven't seen, but apparently they're adorable. Like, I have seen a Gremlin before. It is adorable. So I don't get it. How is it a horror movie? Anyway, we'll find out tomorrow. Have a good night.
Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed what you just watched. If you're interested in more of my videos, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notifications every time I upload a video. And also, if you could, just leave a like down below and maybe even consider commenting, telling me things I did good, things I did bad.